G'day legends, welcome back, episode 18, getting pretty close to the end now. Just got some 12 volt wiring to finish off on this episode, and then off to the Sparky to get the 240 put in, and she'll be nearly ready to roll. Not much to go after that. Hope you're not here for a masterclass on how to do 12 volt wiring, because I've got no idea. A total noob, and a lot of you aficionados are probably going to cringe at what you see in this episode. But anyway, stay tuned. Lots to get through. I've got a table of gear here beside me, lots of tangles of wire and all sorts of little gadgets that I'm going to be putting on, which will be fun. But first of all, we'll jump in and I'll show you how I calculated the size of battery and how much solar I needed to match up with the appliances I've got. A bit of a spreadsheet, so we'll jump into that. Yeah, so as mentioned, I'll just give you a bit of a run through of how I calculated power needs and size of battery, size of solar, all that sort of good stuff. I'm a mate who's in the solar industry, helped me with this spreadsheet, just pulled it together. Thanks, Todd. It's fairly easy to understand, but it just gave me a bit of a bearing on what I needed to do with the design of all the electrics. So I'll quickly run through it. Pretty straightforward. Column G, just figuring out how many minutes a day you're going to use a certain thing. My induction cooker has a maximum potential of 3,500 watts. So it's a 2,000 on one side and a 1,500 on the other on the dual element. I'll never, ever get over the 3,000 mark when I'm using it, because it would probably burn the caravan down. So it'll always be underneath that. And 30 minutes a day at the maximum wattage is crazy. We'll never get to that. So this is a massive over allowance, I guess you'd say. So potentially in the future may have a washing machine at the site, unlikely. The microwave's obviously in there. And actually the Makita battery charger is, I ended up with a 12 volt one, so this is already wrong. It needs to go down on the line below here. So you run them for 30 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, whatever they are. And then it just calculates through over to here, which is your watts divided by how many hours a day to give you the watt hour day consumption. That tallies down to that number there. All the 12 volt stuff down here. Your watts obviously is your voltage times your amps to get your watts, and then you run it half an hour a day, so it's 0.5. So that calculation is pretty simple. It's just your half hour, 0.5 hours times your watts gives you your watt hour a day for each of those appliances. And obviously, you find your appliance, look it up online. They'll give you this information. So you total all these watt hour per day consumptions up, you get into about that number there, which is 3.93 kilowatt hours a day. Obviously, just divide that by 1,000 is my absolute, I think, maximum top end consumption. And then your 12 volt battery capacity over here is a factor of that watt hour a day requirement divided by 12 for 12 volt. And then that calculation also assumes you can only use 90% of your lithium battery capacity. The last 10% is unavailable. So we end up with 363 amp hour battery requirement. I've got 489s, well and truly covered there, which is good. Then you move down to the solar. Australia, we assume 5 watt peak sun hours a day. Often you'll get more out in the arid regions, and quite often where I live you'll get less, but this is a good average in what's used in the solar industry in Australia. And then that basically just your solar capacity requirement is your total watt hour a day calculation divided by how many sun hours a day you get. Then you figure out you need 0.786 kilowatt in the panels. I've got 3 times 310, which gives me 930. So I've got enough to cover that, but I've also got redundancy with a solar blanket connection that I can put in as well, and maybe drop another 200 watts into that mix. So I'm well over on battery, I'm well over on solar, which gives me a bit of redundancy in here, and also the ability to chuck some more electrical appliances on if I wanted to later on. Yeah, that's it. Move on to the next bit. Hope you enjoyed that power needs session. It's pretty much what drove the decisions around what I'm putting on this panel. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to
do a bit of a segue to this panel and run you through it. So yeah, I'm not taking credit for this either. I specified it. These guys built it for me and commissioned it. I just dropped the panel in here and wired to it, and they've done a bit more wiring as well. This is by no means detailed explanation. I'm going to do some road testing on this later on. Future episodes in the channel, you'll get to see me testing this out and seeing what it can actually do. And once I learn how to use it a bit more as well, it'll be easier to talk to. But I'll just quickly run through. So I went with a 3000 volt amp inverter. You would have seen in the power needs spreadsheet that I'm pushing up to that if I have everything running at the same time. The actual induction cooker, if I turn it on full on both things, it could push up above that. These things punch well above their weight, and therefore, well, I actually tested it already at 3,500 and it just hummed along, no problems at all. So it'll cover off what I need in the van, plus any future needs as well, I'd imagine. The Multiplus 2 is a really interesting unit. Its ability to be able to bring shore power in and run the van, and if the shore power input isn't sufficient to actually keep up with what the draw is from all the appliances and so on, it'll actually compensate by bringing charge out of the battery to ramp it up as well, which is fairly unique. It's enough about that. I'll go into more detail on that later on. Solar controllers, I've got 3, so I ended up going, so I've got 3 panels on the roof. I'm going to put 2 together, and the third one will be on its own. So the 50 amp will run 2 of them, the 30 amp will run 1, and that one there is for an external input for a solar blanket as well. So the idea of splitting the solar controllers was that they didn't cost too much more having one large capacity on its own, and if I've got shading on the roof on a couple of the panels, at least I'll know that one of them that's not in the shade is likely to keep charging, which is great. Similarly for the solar blanket, if I'm in a spot where I cannot get any sun on the van, I can run a lead out and put a solar blanket out in the sun, hopefully, and still get charging. So that's the logic there. I've got a charger here from the car, 12 volt 30 amp, and over here we've got the brain of the whole thing. Basically, it sends signal across to the control screen, which I'll show you a bit later on in the episode. And on the front of that, there's a little tank module. Currently got 2 Cymarine pressure transducers coming into that for water level in the tanks. And I'll talk a bit about those later on as well. This is the Lynx power system. Just simplifies the whole inputs. That's every single line into the panel and to the rest of the van. Then there's fuse. There's mega fuses that sit along that rail there, underneath those blue covers. Just simplifies that whole thing. I've got some breakers over there for shore power in, and also the solar out. That's a really basic rundown of the panel. I think now we'll jump across and head over into the kitchen. I'll start putting some lights and things in and do a bit of wiring. But yeah, stay tuned in for future episodes. I'll be running through this in more detail. Looking good on this side. So I've got the LED fitted. So I've got the dual color LED up in the roof here, runs through that conduit, down the other side, down in there and through the wall. Finished the oven, back to the Anderson plug over here. Don't think I need much more in here. There's going to be a 240 outlet that'll go in with a sparky to put in. And I think that's about it. Those pumps are wired. They come back through and up around and drop into here as well. So I think I'll move on to the box and getting this mounted on the front, and then start doing the inside, which is a bit trickier, but we'll get some lights in there as well. And then connect the battery, because it's still on disconnected, connect the battery and then run some power over to the box, and job done. Go on holidays. That's it roughly in place. So that's got to go in there, clips into that cover. So I've just got to get the cover roughly where I want it. I put it on before and marked the outside of this where it fitted in the hole, so hopefully I'm pretty close with this. Just picked up some of this 6G twin power cable from Jaycar to Sunday morning. I couldn't get anything else. The 16mm Wild Flex that I was hoping to use, that stuff that I used for the charger from the Anderson plug at the front from the car, was about 100mm too short, would you believe? So I had to go and get something else. And so I've just put a couple of lugs on that and brought it in, dropped it in on the terminals in here. It's got a 80 amp maximum rating at which it says for up to 300 minutes or 65 constant. When you add up the things I got running off it, it gets pretty close, but that's 35 max, but it'll never run at that for a long time, so that's pretty good. I've got two times 10 amp elements in this, so if you've got it on full, it'll run 20 amps. I don't think that's continuous either, it cycles. So if I was to run 20, 35, that's 55, so I'm pushing that wire if I've got both of them running at the same time, which will be rare. And then I've got a couple of pumps which are 5 amp and the LED, which is stuff all. So 80 amps max on this cable. Should be fairly safe, I think. Hope that works out. Figure it out later. Yeah, so we'll go and put the earth on the battery and light the panel up and see what happens. Wait to see if there's any smoke and go from there. Okay, here goes nothing. So the battery's mounted in under here, which you would have seen previously. There's some tie down straps. Yeah, that's the negative from the battery, and that's the negative to the panel. I've already connected the positive, which is this big chuba here, goes around and all the way to the front. Had to connect that before you slide the battery in. And yeah, so I've got this capacitors in these inverters, which slowly leak over time, leak out current. So I'm expecting a few sparks here because it'll make a connection and drain power, which usually means sparks, I think. So we'll just have to suck it up and see, and if I get electrocuted, this could be the end of the build series. Given it's only 12 volt, should be reasonably safe, I'd imagine. Just had this taped up to stop it tapping against that and throwing a spark. Enough length in it to make it run continuous, even a spark. Yep. Lots of flashing lights. Seems like a positive. The only thing that I can really turn on is the oven, I think. Go around and check that out. That's a positive. Servo's come on. It's ticking. Turn on the top element. Let's go both. Ooh, got a red light. Can feel warmth in there already. Just got to get these pump lines now put into the back. I'm going to run through these switches so I can isolate the pumps. And those switches are already fused. Moment of truth. She's on. She's on too. All right, pretty happy with everything around the other side. Time to get a new box on. The other box on this side, not much space for it really. So I'm going to mount it up against the base of the bed there. This is a small section of bed here that I'll just screw down and make it permanent. I only need to lift the other side up to get to wiring and stuff later on. So this one won't need to move, which is good. There she is up, just got the front popped off so I can access it. Let there be light. Ooh. Ooh. Time to get some wiring into this fridge box area. So the fridge itself's got an Anderson plug mounted on it. It's behind that strap there, you probably can't see it, but there's an Anderson plug in there, which is good. Means I can get a decent connection here. So I just got the Anderson plug on. And that's obviously just loose here back through there. So what we're trying to avoid when the fridge is coming in and out is exactly that. Like I said, getting caught up under the slide there. So what I'm going to do is close it fully and then bring the cable up along the underside of here to this point over here and fix it to that point. And then as it comes back, I've got to have an ocky strap that comes up like this. So when it's fully extended, that stretches out to the edge of the fridge, and as it slides back, it holds that cable up. Hopefully, it's just to have to muck around with where the positioning of all those things is and how that's going to work, and see what happens. So yeah, that's the setup. You can see this. I had to flip the Anderson plug, and I just put a self tapper in, so it's back to front on the fridge, which isn't great, but terrible design. I don't know why they've done it like that, but it does work in that position, which is good. So that gives it the height, so it won't slam into the back of the fridge slide here. Runs around through and up, and there's a in that little purple thing, there's just a very short length of ocky strap. So that's the other end of it. I just cut off, and I've just got the clip bent around the cord, and the cord then runs through there like that and up and sits underneath the frame and runs all the way along the back, and I'll drop down there. I'll tidy that up once I've got it worked out, but I'll just slide it in and out so you can see. So that's closed. She comes open, it just lifts it up a bit more. Do that again. That's fully locked. So it just comes up along the side, sits around the edge there, goes all the way along through there and up. Still got a bit of slop in it, which is good, so it's not putting any pressure on any of the joins. I think that'll be okay. See how it lasts over time. Job done. It's got to connect the other end off to the box. Oh, I've been having a bit of fun in here for the last few hours, trying to run cable through. This is a cavity, this section here. It's like a bit of square that gives it strength, and the canvas tucks in behind in a lip. So there's a cavity in there, which I'd always planned to run wires in, which was good. So I got that one in there. She's pretty bright. Ooh. I'm not sure about it facing you, actually. It's probably too bright to look at, but that one's really mellow, which is good. Some bug light on it, which will light up this thing. So Terralume doing the job again. Yeah, so that cable runs through. Really hard to get around that corner, like a nightmare. I reckon I spent 2 hours in there with puller wires and all sorts of stuff to try and get it done. And I've pulled one out as well, a bit of that cable with a loop there, in case I want to put another light, which I probably will somewhere over there in the future for the bathroom. Put a little reading light here. That will create, like I quite often will sit there. I think it's a nice flat back wall. You can put cushions up against it and put legs outstretched through here. Another one of those over there, similar, same as that one. Over there, reading light for when you're in bed. Another one over there. But yeah, it's all looking pretty good. This is pretty much done in here. The next thing is just to connect up the composting toilet fan, which I'll do, and I've got a small on-off switch just to put into that line. It's really light, everything's really light, so it's just a little press button jobby, which should be good enough. And then that fan can get hooked up, and then I've got a couple of extra wires in there. One's for the diesel heater and another one for if I need to put USB charging over here in the future. So it's all happening. It's almost done in here for the ability to be able to go camping. But yeah, coming together well. Time to jump onto the airbag and compressor setup. So I've got the compressor in here. I've got to tidy up that wiring, ignore that for now. That's going to go over there like that. So I've got a filter, inlet filter that goes on the end here. I'll just put it on a short lead and have it sucking air from in there, because there's plenty of space in there to draw air from inside the van. So that will be sufficient, I think. A bag of air fittings, a few rolls of airline, some more air connectors, splitters, a few bolts to bolt the compressor down, and some instructions which don't seem to match the gear I've got. So I've had to go and inquire further and find some online that match the panel. Anyway, we'll see how it works out. All right, that's the filter in, and good. I just put it on a short bit so it fits in there lengthwise. Luckily I haven't put the induction in. It's got to have its 240 fitted off on the end of it yet, so I can just lift that out and get access into the back of the panel in there. Yeah, so that's the bird's nest. That's actually how it comes. The only bit I've brought in are these power leads here. All the rest of that's the way it was assembled. I don't really know why, because it's all a unit that you're meant to fit, unless I guess you wanted to pull the gauges off and put them somewhere else. I don't know why you'd want all that length in there. Yeah, so I've just brought power into the back of this switch, basically, which is this one here. Turns the compressor on, and then you can run power off the back of that switch over to the panel to give you a bit of light. So it lights up. That turns the compressor on. It's not fitted down, it's just sitting up there, so it's bouncing around when you turn it on. Hopefully that noise drops a bit once it's all enclosed and screwed down. Yeah, next I've got to get some air line running. So I've got to go from compressor, which is mounted up there. It's got to run to the black tank that I've got mounted underneath the back, which I'll show you. Out of that black tank, all the way back to here, runs into that point there. And then there's two outlets here, one for either airbag, that I've got to run back again to that same spot, drop them into the airbags on either side with threaded fittings. So I'll get onto that now and see if we can get this thing a-rocking. Alright, so what we're dealing with underneath. So I put the air tank back here behind the freshwater tanks, and there's the rear tank there, there's the wheels there, obviously at the back of the van. That's the air tank, so it's got an inlet on and an outlet on either side, which I've tapped into with the air lines. And there's a drain point here as well, which I'm a bit worried about getting broken off. I might have to put something over there. It's higher than the bottom of that tank, so if anything hits it, it's going to collect the tank as well, but it's pretty fragile, I would have thought. I mean, it's a solid steel tank and it's a stainless steel fitting screwed into it, but still, it'd only take one decent rock and that'd be over, I reckon. So I might have to protect it somehow. And then the airbags, you just tap into the top of those with an airline, so I've done that on both sides. That was really straightforward, actually. Everything went pretty well. Just got it all the way back to the compressor. So now I just got to test out whether it's going to work. If it's a rockin', don't come a knockin'. You. All right, time to get the solar panels on the roof. There they are in that box down there. And just got to clean it all really well because I'm using double-sided tape and some flute liners, which I'll show you in a sec. And so the panels run perpendicular to the direction of travel. So there's three. One goes there, one goes there, one goes there. They're a metre wide, which means I've got 3 metres overall, which is exactly, would you believe, 3.05 metres to the edge of the little lip there where the roof sheet sits up a bit higher. So I've got 2.5 mil at either end sitting on that, which worked out really well. I'll clean it all once with the VR10. I'll get all the panels ready, get them double-sided tape and flute liners onto the back of them, bring them up here. I'll clean it all again with the VR10 because it might be tomorrow when they go down, so a bit of dust will settle on it. Clean it all again, get them on, and we should be ready to rock and roll. So that's all the flute liner on. So this stuff is intended to give you a bit of space between the top of your van and the panel, obviously a bit of ventilation. But also, because it's plastic, it can stretch and deform a bit, which means that when things heat up and they shrink and expand and contract again, it doesn't lose its bond. That's the point of it anyway. So ventilation plus ability to expand. And yeah, so I've got them equally spaced all the way across. On the front panel, which was that one over there that I did earlier, I put a double line through the front edge, the leading edge on the van, so that one will go on first, and then these ones subsequently. So that's now attached with the tape on one side, and then I run a length of tape along the top of all these. I'll leave that red stuff on, the most annoying stuff in the world to get off. Oh my God, it's so annoying. So I'll leave that on until I get up on top of the van. I've cleaned the van and I'm about to fix it, and I'll pull all that off and drop the panel on. There we go, just got to get the tape off the back, lift it up, turn it over, drop it back down and hopefully line it up. So you can see that front edge there sits flush with the lip I've got here, which is the roof panel sheet step up. Looking at that, I reckon I've got an opportunity to glue in a bit of angle that glues to the aluminium there and then comes up and over and sits across that edge. Maybe with some Terracin 939 or something on that edge, don't know. Just to stop the wind going in and trying to lift the panel off. I reckon that'll save it any chance of coming off in the future. So I'll have a look at that. Check the Sparky as well about it. We'll see how it all goes. It's basically a mobile solar farm, I reckon. Not much rooftop real estate left after that. Exactly what I was after though. So I'm going to run these two together and then this one separately. So I've got to pull these cables together, click and play those things. Just so I'll join those two panels together, click, click, and then there's one that joins in up there. It'll run all the way through, and then I'll pick up that one as well. And the same at the back. I'm going to tidy it all up by putting it inside this 25mm conduit. These connectors fit perfectly inside, and so it'll be really tidy. That's just going to be stuck down with the double-sided tape. Fits perfectly in that little gap there, which is nice, on top of that aluminium profile. So yeah, I'll get it through there like that, and then at the other end I've got to have two of these. Each one of these has two cables running in it through a grommet system like that. It's just going to be glued down to the top. They'll go down the end there, a bit further down, but yeah, they'll basically just sit like that. There'll be two of them in a row, and the cables will come out the end of that conduit and pop into them and go through into the roof and down into the van. So yeah, that's a job for now, and then we should be done. Just got back from the Sparkies. He's done all the 240 volt and certifications thanks to the power point there. I've got the inverter running right now. You can see the microwaves come on. Induction's hooked up and working. There's a couple of power points he's put in around the in the storage area that pick up that, and there's some spare ones around as well. I've got one in the fridge box area. If I'm ever sitting in here and I need to charge a laptop, I can plug in there. Plus the other side of it's got one to run the fridge if necessary. Yeah, so he tied it all this up, which is great. That panel's now got really neat wiring in the back of it, and tied it all that up in there. Got the compressor fitted off neatly, so that's all good. And yeah, it's looking pretty schmick. Still got a bit of work to do. I've run out of time on the episode though. Yeah, so the wiring caper takes a bit longer than I thought. This episode's gone for a bit long already, so I'm gonna have to call it a day there, and we'll finish off the little bits and pieces in episode 19 that need to be done. A few lights going on the outside, a few lights maybe going underneath the van, and yeah, I've got to tidy some stuff up. That solar I haven't got connected into the back of the panel, so that's got to happen. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you got something out of it. Join in next week. We've just got so many little tiny things to finish off on the van, and then I think the last part of episode 19, hopefully you'll be seeing me drive out the shed for the first adventure, which will form the basis of episode 20 when we do a bit of a walk around and get the van out in the bush, which will be very exciting. Thanks for joining in, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of good stuff helps me out. Thanks guys, bye.